I know we've got an item there that says address by Office of the City Manager. He unfortunately could not make it and has extended an apology. We are going to tweak the program a bit just to also accommodate our executive director who had an urgent matter to attend to at the office, so we'll just move that presentation to later. We are going to request Ms. Asisipo Mandanza, who is the Business Retention Manager at the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, to come and present and share opportunities that are available for businesses who have invested in the province. And I think the reason why we saw it fit to include province is so that we can highlight that as a city, we are not working in silo. We are part of a bigger plan or a bigger government, as you would know, with the 3 spheres of government. We've got national, we've got province, and ourselves on the local ground. But we just wanted to highlight that we are working hand in hand with our counterparts in province as well as national. So with that said, I will call forth Ms. Asisipo to the podium. Can we give her a round of applause?
Good morning, everyone. Kind of was not expecting that. Do you know when you're about to write an exam and you think the exam is at 2 and then they say actually it's at 12? That's how I feel like. But anyway, can you just enlarge it? Yeah, Amelie. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. As introduced by Amu, my name is Asisipo Mandaza. I work for the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency under their Trade, Investment and Regulatory Enablement Unit, the Business Retention Manager there. My presentation is just going to be brief. I've got 10 minutes that I was given. I'm going to talk about what we do at the GGDA, but mainly focusing on the unit that I come from, which is the Trade and Investment Unit. So just as a brief, for those that might not know, please go back to the first one. For those that might not know what the GGDA is, we are the implementation arm of the Department of Economic Development for the Gauteng province. We have been established to catalyze innovative as well as sustainable economic growth in the work that we do. Also, we there to create an enablement environment for businesses in Gauteng. We just don't focus on the city of Joburg, but we also focus on the greater Gauteng region. We were established in 1996. Back then it used to be called JEDA. Most people might be aware of that. And then there was also Blue IQ, which was a separate entity, but then the two merged in 2012, and that became the broader GGDA group. So what we do at the GGDA, we've got 2 main units. We've got your Trade and Investment Unit, which is the unit that I come from. I'll talk more about the services that we provide to businesses. And then also we've got the Economic Infrastructure Unit, which looks into industrial spaces, infrastructure projects, construction, and anything that has to do with infrastructure in the province. They deal with that. Then at the back of these 2 units, we've got the Economic Intelligence Unit, which does research, but mostly the research that we do is consumed internally. It guides us in terms of the strategies that we take, but also sometimes businesses might want to know in terms of information with GDP and any economic related data that talks about the province. So that's who we are as the main focus, being those 2. So GGDA, it's a broader group, but within the GGDA, we've got subsidiaries. So we've got your AIDC, which is your automotive supplier park. They're based in Roseline. They mainly work with developing the auto component sector, developing businesses there within the supply chain of the auto. They do a lot of trainings, a lot of developmental initiatives with the big OEMs that are based in Pretoria, as well as the greater Gauteng region. We've got the Industrial Development Zone, which is your GIDZ. They're based at the OR Tambo SEZ. It's for those that are wanting to be established in an SEZ, just to take part of the incentives that being in an ICZ offers. So that's your OR Tambo precinct. They've let out precinct 1 now. They currently in this phase whereby they bringing in tenants for precinct 2. And then we've got the Innovation Hub, which is your science and technology park that is based in Pretoria. That is still within an entity. It's an entity of the GGDA. They focus on high technology sectors for Gauteng, as well as just to drive innovative and key knowledge economy in the province. Then you've got your Constitutional Hill, which is your heritage site. I'm sure most people might be aware of that, but that's also part of the greater GGDA group. So within the Trade, Investment and Regulatory Enablement Unit, so we focus on 4 things within that unit. We focus on investment development. Those are the colleagues that trace leads. They look into who's coming in to invest in the province. They also scout out for leads. By leads, I mean investors that want to come in and set up in the province. They promote the province as a viable place for businesses to come in and set up their operations here. They also look for trade leads. By scouting out what is available in the market. They focus mostly on checking opportunities that are available in the African market for businesses in Gauteng to take part of that. That is what that unit does. They engage a lot with foreign ministries, international business community, as well as your business chamber, because that's where you would get that information for those that are looking into venturing in or attracting businesses to come in and set up in Gauteng. Then you've got your investment facilitation unit. Those are your investment facilitation managers. You might be aware that when you've got a foreign direct investor coming in, they might not be aware about the processes that it takes for them to set up their business. So they help with facilitating that. It doesn't need to be an international investor. It could be a direct investor. It could be you. By investor, I mean businesses, people that are coming in. Maybe you're looking into setting up a new factory. You're wanting to understand which incentives are available. You're wanting to get approvals that are relevant within your industry, whether you're looking for an EIA, you're looking for WULA. Those are the ones that facilitate that. They also help you with immigration facilitation, especially when you're looking into FDI. So these colleagues work with you in ensuring that your investment is properly facilitated and you land softly in the province. That's what they do as an offering to businesses coming in. And then you've got the unit called business retention, expansion, and aftercare. That is the business the business subunit that I fall under. We retain businesses that are already here. So if you are already, like you, I would assume you already have businesses. I always say we deal with problems daily in this unit because it's always problems galore, but that's what we are there to assist businesses with. We there to ensure that you still remain invested in Gauteng. And there's many things that make businesses to pack up and leave. And sometimes it's the soft things from what we've encountered is that it's basic things like your municipal service delivery issues. So we deal a lot with the municipality. I deal with the city of Johannesburg to raise issues that businesses also are raising. I deal a lot with the Department of Roads and Transport because you might find that some of the roads are not are provincial roads. So we raise these issues to province. We work with business especially business forums that have set them up because it's better to highlight these matters in a coordinated voice. So what we do, we provide support to these businesses on issues that just hinder them on doing business. As I'm mentioning, it could be roads, it could be electricity issues where matters are not sorted out. It could be litter issues. It could be them facing challenges with the municipality or whatever department. So we kind of place ourselves as the role between government as well as business just to ensure that the voice is more coordinated. That's what we do. We also provide aftercare services in expansion. By expansions, I mean like if you are growing your business and you are looking into expansion, expand, we still help you with facilitating access to finance. We do not have the funding as the ECDC or as the GGDA, but we do help you with linking you up with the relevant funders that might be able to fund your venture. If you are facing delays with approvals, we always say if the Department of Environmental says it takes 90 days for you to get your EIA, we're not going to come in and say you're going to get it in 60 days unless really it's pressing. But if then they do not adhere to the 90 days, which some cases we might find, not necessarily the Department of Environmental Affairs, but some departments, then you'd find that they've got a guideline that says we're supposed to help you in X amount of time, and then they don't. That's when we come in to say, can you help? And also some of the things are quite critical. They might say, okay, we're only able to help within these days, but then you might find that this is hindering the business. Then we come into that to help, because we've got MOUs with those businesses. So that's what we do, and we also advocate for an investor-friendly regulatory environment. That just is quite, it's broad, but it just depends on business. So when we sit with you, we'll understand what your challenges are, and then we can see how we can assist you with that. Then you've got your trade promotion unit, which they work with businesses that are looking into export. If you are interested in exporting, you want to know how to go about exporting, they offer export trainings, they offer export awareness workshops working with the DTIC. Those colleagues also, if you've got issues, maybe you've got issues in terms of your customs and you want to understand the processes, they help you with that. And also they link you up with businesses that might be looking for what you are producing, especially focusing in the African market. That is what that unit does at the GGDA. And then this is just talking about how we do it, which I've spoken about. But we do conduct aftercare forums. We do have industry feedback sessions. And then also we do the ease of doing business index. It might not just be GGDA driven. It might be driven by industry, just to understand what are the issues that businesses are facing. So we do that. And then also we just help by managing expectations of investors in the province. And then we focus on these sectors, but it doesn't mean that if your sector is not here, we do not work with that, but these are our key focus sectors. So you'd find that this is based on what the province has identified. That if you're looking into Central, which is Johannesburg, mostly the thriving sectors there are finance, ICT, retail, business tourism, as well as pharmaceutical. It doesn't mean that the other sectors are not there, but it just means that the greater concentration of these sectors lies within this region in Gauteng. So you'd find that when you're looking into Ekurhuleni, mostly it's advanced manufacturing, big manufacturers that are based there. So we work with those in terms of the issues that they're facing. If you're looking at the south, we're promoting agriculture as well as agro-processing, as well as just positioning it as a logistic hub for people that want to then go to the greater neighboring countries, as well as to move in into the other province. Then we're looking into the West Rand, as well as Tshwane. Tshwane is mostly automotive, as well as your auto sector, aerospace, as well as defense. And then if you then look into the work that we do, we also focus on SEZs, which is your special economic zones. There isn't an SEZ in the city of Joburg area, but these are the other SEZs that we work with. I know that besides the city of Joburg not having an SEZ, there's quite a number of industrial spaces that the gentleman who was speaking before me spoke about. So we work with those industrial spaces. We do want to we sit into those meetings to get to understand what businesses are bringing into the table. Then we see how we then can work with them to assist them on challenges that they are facing. So just this is my second last slide. These are the partners that we work with. So we work with private sector as well as multilateral institutions. We've got MOU with these institutions through our InvestSA one-stop shop, which is the Gauteng One office in Sandton. We work with local government, such as your city of Johannesburg, as well as all the other local government entities in Gauteng. We work very closely with our provincial agencies. as well as the agencies that are in the province. We work with national governments such as your DTIC. We work with Home Affairs, especially when it comes to visa facilitations for those investors that are coming in. We work closely with ESCOM. So if you are expanding or you're looking for great, like higher power, we facilitate those engagements with ESCOM to help you get your power agreements for if you're looking for more power or whatever issues you might be facing with ESCOM that are just business specific or area specific. And then, yeah, that's who we work with. And then these are just some of the slide of the notable players that we've worked with. Some, you'd see that most of them are quite large entities, but we don't just only focus on large entities. We do also work with medium businesses as well. So we've worked with the likes of Microsoft for their investments that they've been doing. You might have noticed last year they announced they're building in a data center. We've worked with Leroy Merlin when they were coming in the first time in the country. We worked with Heineken as well as their expansions, whatever approvals they were looking for, QK Meats, as well as the others that are written there forward. We work quite closely with them in the issues that they're facing in that area. So these are just the slides that shows the type of businesses that we work with. It doesn't mean that if you're not there, we do not work with you, but it's just to highlight the type of support that we're providing to businesses that are based in Gauteng. And thank you so much. That is my email address. If you want to, you could send me an email. We could sit down and then I could get to understand what support you need and what issues you might be facing as your business in particular or businesses in your area. And then we can see how we can support you on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Asi. And I think your presentation basically elaborates what we are doing as the department as well as the Trade and Investment Directorate within the business retention. But I think what we wanted to highlight with this presentation is that, again, we are not working alone, but we do have key strategic partners such as Province so that we unlock any bottlenecks that you may have as businesses. Just out of interest, can I see by a show of hand who has dealt with GGDA before? Anyone? There's one at the back. Okay. So I hope we all found the presentation very useful. So for future challenges that impact on province, whether it's roads and transport, then you have a contact person. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving with our program. We will now call upon Mr. Donald Mabusela. He is a director responsible for strategic partnerships and customer care from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. Again, we spoke about the importance of collaboration. We are not working in silos as the city. We also value our strategic partnership with national as well. We did not invite the business retention side of the department, but we do work with them very closely. But we thought for this presentation, we will allow Mr. Mabusela to share what are some of the opportunities and support that is available for businesses like yourselves that have already invested in the city. Mr. Donald, over to you. Can we give him a round of applause as he comes forward?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's my name, Donald Mabusela, from the, I hope you can hear me, from the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition. Within the department, I am working in the incentives branch. Our responsibility within the incentives branch is to package various financial support instruments aiming at supporting businesses in various ways. And this is what I'll be talking about. It's a lot of information. I'm going to try and condense it within 10 minutes with the understanding that the organizers of this event will share this presentation with everyone so that you can peruse it further to see what the issues are. So in this presentation, I'm going to be outlining those various incentive schemes. It's just going to be an overview so that you have that understanding, and then assist you to understand how these various incentives are grouped so that when you have a project, you know exactly where to start. And if you want to expand or you want to engage in other projects, this document will assist and direct you as to where to go. And then now, before I even forget, when you've got specific questions, that's my number here on this presentation. Please engage me directly, but don't make direct calls, because in most cases we are in meetings and engagements, and if people call, they always complain that we are not picking up calls. But if you send me a text when I'm done, when I'm available, I'm going to be able to engage with you. And then I'll try to outline the application process. How do you apply? How do you access these various schemes? And then now, grant disbursements. Key here is that you need to understand that once you are approved, we do not pay cash to you as an applicant. But then now, based on that approval, you implement your project. So as you are implementing, you package a claim, you submit to us, we reimburse you. So all our schemes work on a reimbursement basis. And like I said, there are our contact details at the end there. These are our principles. I hope you are familiar with them. I've talked about our branch whereby we administer these different incentive programs. Now, this is a very important slide that you need to understand, and time and again refer to it, whereby I'm saying to give this financial support to the business community. We have about 20 various schemes and sub-schemes addressing various challenges that the businesses might have. And number two, we say we're working on a cost-sharing basis, which means if you need 10 million rand to invest in your company, whether to start a new project or to upgrade an existing one, depending on the particular scheme for which you'll be applying for, you'll find that there's only a certain portion. On average is 30%, but it differs from one scheme to the other, from one enterprise to the other. There are a number of variables that determine that, whereby we'll say you'll qualify for 30% support. Now, if it's 30%, it means you'll have to raise the 70%. Somebody's project might qualify for 50% support. It means you'll have to go and raise the other 50%. There are instances whereby your project would qualify for 80%. You'll have to go and raise the other 20%. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a challenge, especially with SMMEs when it comes to raising the core funding. And with our schemes, we support new establishments, startups. If you're starting from scratch, you can still apply. We'll be able to assist you. And those that are in operation, they're either expanding or they are upgrading their existing businesses. And we mainly focus in manufacturing. Irrespective of what you are manufacturing, as long as it's manufacturing, we'll be able to support you if you meet the requirements. If you are not in manufacturing, then be in agro processing. We don't support primary agriculture, primary production. But once you've harvested or you are able to access agricultural products that you want to process further, we are available to assist, because our schemes assist mainly with the acquisition, with the buying of machinery, tools, and equipment that you need to be able to perform your various activities. And the main qualifying costs that we cover relate to mainly capital investment, whether you want to buy a factory or you want to rent a factory, we can contribute and assist you there. Machinery, tools and equipment, and commercial vehicles. We do not assist a lot with working capital. And we work on a reinvestment principle, as I've indicated, whereby as you implement your project, you package your claims, you submit to us, and then we come and do an inspection that the car, the buggy that you said you'll buy, indeed you have bought it. The factory that you said you are occupying, indeed you are occupying. The machinery that you said you've ordered from China or Germany, it's indeed there. Once we see that documents are in order, now we process your claim. So there are no upfront payments. Now, not everyone who put an application will be supported. I know I'm talking nonsense now, but the quality of your business case is important. What do I mean by that? As business people, you know that your project must be economically viable. There are certain business people, when they talk to us officials, I know they're not here, I'm talking about them in their absence. They want to impress us. They say, I'm going to be creating so many jobs, man. The department must assist me. No. It's your business economically viable. In most cases, people simply put together business plans. No. Have you assessed the viability of this business proposal? Is it viable and economically so? Because I know the taxpayers here, they know that the monies, they work hard for their monies, and then government takes a bit of it in the form of taxes. Now, taxpayers don't want their monies to be wasted because they work very hard. That's the reason why now we've got a responsibility to assess the viability of your project. And mainly with economic viability, we are saying you're going to be making office furniture, and you want to set up a factory and invest 50 million. And we have calculated, we say 20 million is going to come as a grant. So you are raising the other 30. Now, we ask you now, are you sure that once you have manufactured these desks and pieces of furniture, you are going to be able to sell them? Are there people who are going to buy your products? You cannot just say yes. Now we say, prove to us that you will be able to sell. That's where now the issues of take agreements and letters of intent come into the picture. And then if you say, Donald Mabusela said he's going to be buying my products per month, he's going to be spending $1 million, which means over a period of 12 months, he'll be spending 12 million buying from you. We must go and check how stable his business is. Maybe it's not even making half of that in revenue. So we do due diligence to assess and make sure that really the people who have provided offtake agreements, the businesses have got the capacity to buy from you. So you have secured the market. Number two is the technical viability. This man has been running a spaza shop, or it's like Donald Mabusela, he has been working for the DTI for how many years? Now he's applying for 100 million to set up a manufacturing business to make office furniture. Now the key question is, does this man really have the capacity to effectively run this massive enterprise? Now that's where now we look at your organogram. Who's going to be the CEO? What is the CV saying? Who are the executives in this new entity? Where do they come from? What kind of experience and exposure do they have? Especially if it's a startup. So my company might be new. I might have registered it yesterday, but the team that will be responsible for running this thing, they've been there for many years, a lot of experience and exposure. So it confirms that they've got the required capabilities to run this thing successfully. So we do a lot of due diligence on your business proposals until we are of the view that this is not going to be wasted money. Even though our funding, it's grants, you don't have to pay it back, but this is not our money, it's the taxpayers' money. These are the resources of the state. We want to be sure that they are employed properly. Now, because I said we've got about 20 different schemes, once you've identified the kind of scheme that will meet your specific needs, it's important that you go to our website and download the guidelines and understand what the rules of this scheme, what the rules are, and then make sure that your application is aligned. So this is a very important slide that should give you a proper overview with regards to the incentive schemes. The next slide now, those 20, about 20 incentive schemes, we grouped them into these 5 categories. Which also assist us in explaining to the business community what kind of support are we offering. We are encouraging South Africans to innovate, come up with new products and better products and so on and so on. We assist South Africans to manufacture locally. So what do? We put a carrot and say, if you are setting up a manufacturing facility, or if you are innovating, this is how we're going to assist you financially. Now, for us to ultimately assist you, it means you must meet our requirements. That's why, even though we use the term grant and incentive interchangeably, But in reality, these are incentives. We are encouraging you to run your business in a particular way. Let me quickly go through them. Now, whilst I'm still here, let me explain this, that this is an overview. It's a very important slide. Now, when you want information about any one of this, maybe let's go to the next slide. So the same clusters, I've put them differently to give more information about what we mean by manufacturing and what kind of schemes do we have to support those individuals who are in manufacturing. So it gives an idea as to what we mean by this. Let's go to the next three. Continue, 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 again, again. Now, for each one of those schemes, we've put a slide such as this one that provides a better overview that this is the automotive investment scheme. Are you in the automotive sector, manufacturing automotive component parts? This is the scheme that you can access. And incentive offering, how much are we offering you? 20% of the value of qualifying investment. Maybe let's go to the next one. This one is the most popular incentive scheme, the Black Industrialist Scheme, whereby we say we encourage South Africans to manufacture rather than continuously importing. Let's manufacture here locally. Let's set up. And then we're saying it's for the black industrialist. Now, who is a black industrialist? Those businesses where blacks own a majority. At least 51% of the ownership is in the hands of black people. Now, this is a summary of what I call the guidelines. So you make an assessment and say, as black people in this enterprise, what percentage are we owning? And then for you to be able to apply for this particular one, you must be in manufacturing and you must make long-term commitment to the business. And how much are we supporting you? The maximum is 50 million rand. As a percentage, 30% up to 50% of cost sharing. You need 100 million. When we evaluate your application, we will say to you, in terms of your application, you'll qualify for 30% support. Someone else might qualify for 40% support. Another one might qualify for 50% support. So this kind of a slide now gives you a little bit of the details. And I'm not going to go into the details, but I'm going to, let's go back to slide number, that table. Yeah. So I'm only going to be stopping here, just using this to give an overview with the understanding that you can find a little bit more details on each one of them from this presentation. And then ultimately, thank you. Then ultimately you can go to the website to get further details as you'll be packaging your application. Briefly, innovation. We're encouraging South Africans to innovate, and we have got these two schemes. What is the difference between the two schemes? Technology and human resources for industry program. You find that I remember that's, maybe let me use that example. That's one gentleman that we funded through our Black Industrialist program. He's making sauces. Now, he wanted to upgrade his sauces so that they can have some medicinal elements in them. So there are specific herbs that he wanted to put in. Now, it's an innovation. And then now, innovating, improving the products. Now, there was choice between technology for human resources and support program for industrial innovation. So with this one, that's when now, in terms of the innovation that you want to bring about, you see the opportunity of collaborating with academic institutions, and maybe the research institutions like the ARC and the CSIR and so on and so on. And during that process, there's going to be involvement of postgraduate students in that research. So you want to do this project, you want to improve your products. You've identified the University of Johannesburg. They've got a department that is dealing with most of these issues, and you want to collaborate with them. And then there'll be a student or students doing masters and doctoral degrees who want to be who should be part of that research program. And then now you'll be using this one, TRIP. Now through this, somebody is going to be obtaining a higher qualification. So all those costs, a portion of them will be taken care of by this. And in this one, it's not necessarily that you need to partner with anyone, but you are going to be employing consultants and different kinds of specialists to assist you to innovate. So it's through these schemes. Now here we're simply saying manufacture. Let's acquire machinery, tools and equipment. If the majority of the owners in the company is black people, and your investment, it's at least 30 million, then BIS will be the most relevant one. But now, if you don't meet those requirements, you can access any one of this, whether it's manufacturing support program, or maybe you are in the aquaculture space. Because with these programs, we assist you to acquire the various tools, different kinds and types of equipment that you need to put together in order to manufacture or to produce whatever you want to produce. Now, with these ones in the services sector, global business services, an example here is the call centers. But now, global, when you have a contract with a global player, with an international company, to set up a call center or to set up a facility whereby they are going to outsource certain activities to your business and pay you, will assist you in setting up that facility. We pay for various costs of setting up. Those that are in the film space, we assist people to produce films as part of job creation and so on and so on. Either as a black person who's operating on a small budget, or even with big films. So depending on your needs and the nature of your project, you'll be able to select the most relevant one. Export promotion. Now we're saying manufacturers and producers in South Africa, let's support them to grow their businesses beyond the borders of South Africa. And through these schemes, we pay for your expenses as you go out there to develop export markets for your products. Some people go and attend various exhibitions on the African continent or abroad, anywhere in the world where you can go. Others are not going to participate in exhibitions. They want to go and have business-to-business meetings with potential clients. How much is your budget for you to go to New York? It's 100K. so much for the flights, so much for accommodation, and so on and so on. Then you put in an application, then you say you are approved. When you come back, this is what you'll claim from us. Now, the most relevant one, not all of them are relevant, but now this one, the city in particular, the sector-specific assistance scheme, we have noticed that there's a need to increase the number of new exporters, especially among SMMEs. Now, through this scheme, we fund the city, not the entrepreneur. The city to do what? The city to come up with an initiative of training and empowering their businesses to become successful exporters. And as part of that training program, you can take a group of them to anywhere in the world, for them either to go and attend exhibitions or to go and have business-to-business meetings. So we fund a group, and the city is one of the qualifying organizations. So we don't train, you identify, you train. As part of that training, that empowerment program, we're saying practically. And this is the scheme where when we approve you in terms of your quotations, as a department, we directly pay those expenses. So it doesn't cost the city, and we pay in advance so that you can implement the project. Now, the last category, it's where we assist with the infrastructure that is required to support businesses. Do we have SEZs in Gauteng? Special economic zones, sort of industrial parks of a certain type. Now, another important one is this one of the critical infrastructure, where we all understand that it is the responsibility of the city to provide bulk services to the investors as a way of attracting and retaining investment. Now, with the understanding that municipalities and cities, I'm not sure whether cities will fall in that, but municipalities mostly have challenges with budgets. You've got a stream of projects that need to be implemented, but now budgets do not allow you to support all of them. Now, we say that kind of infrastructure is very critical. So we step in to partly pay for those bulk services in partnership with the local municipalities so that we can grow our economy. So in brief, those are the clusters. For each one of them, there's an explanation down there. And I hope this has given you an overview. No one is going to come to me and say, we have got a piece of land that we are buying. We want to start planting cabbage and what have you. Can the DTI assist us? I'm going to give you an invoice, a personal invoice. Yeah, because that's primary agriculture. We've seen this mining opportunity somewhere in Limpopo. We want to go there and start mining, and we need 50 million. Can the DTIC assist us? I'm going to give you a personal invoice. So, in brief, that's an overview. Let's spread this presentation to associates and friends so that people can have an idea as to what kind of support is available from us as a department. I'm going to stop here. I don't know, have I taken an hour? I apologize.
Thank you so much, Ntate Mabusela. I think we can all agree that it was a very informative presentation, and we want to appreciate you for taking the time to explain. We understand why you went over your allocated time. There's just a lot of information to share. But we can assure all of you, ladies and gentlemen, that we are going to distribute all the presentations so that you can, at your leisure, you can digest the information that was shared. I believe contact details are on the presentation. If there's any clarity that is required, you are more than welcome to contact Ntate Donald. Very interesting, Ntate Donald. I was attending a investment conference yesterday in Region D. It's called the Soweto Investment Conference. One of the issues that the businesses were complaining about is exactly what you were presenting. They were saying government has a lot of funding instruments, but we don't know who are these businesses that gets funded. But from your presentation, I picked something up. Not all applications will be supported, and the reason being the business case that is being presented. Is it viable economically as well as technically? I think that's something that I've learned from today's presentation. Without any further ado, colleagues, we are going to call upon Ms. Susan Mkabela. She is with the Productivity SA. And she will be talking to us about the support that is available for businesses. But maybe before you come, ma'am, sorry, there is a video that we are going to be playing. So once the video is done, you are more than welcome to come up.
Productivity SA Competitiveness Improvement Services Program. Productivity SA is a Schedule 3A public entity of the Department of Employment and Labour with a mandate to promote employment growth and productivity. Productivity SA is a Schedule 3A public entity of the Department of Employment and Labour with the mandate to promote employment growth and productivity, thereby contributing to South Africa's socio-economic development and competitiveness. Our value proposition is to provide productivity and competitiveness improvement solutions to enhance the productivity and operational efficiency of enterprises throughout the business life cycle to accelerate the creation of wealth and decent work. Productivity SA's Competitiveness Improvement Services Program focuses on creating an enabling environment conducive to entrepreneurship and sustainable enterprises that can create productive employment and decent work. The South African economy is made up of 2.36 million SMMEs, of which over 650,000 of them are in the formal economy and the remaining 1.58 million in the informal economy. CIS supports South Africa's strategic objectives in scaling up efforts to promote long-term industrialization and transformation of the economy and to achieve a productive high-income economy which is globally competitive. Competitiveness Improvement Services enhances the appropriate capacities of SMMEs and cooperatives to adopt world-class productivity enhancement best practices, focusing on products, processes, and people. The SMMEs and cooperatives, especially those in the productive sectors with strong growth and employment multipliers within the priority sectors, are targeted. CIS prioritizes the participation of historically disadvantaged people and regions in the economy and therefore support meaningful BBBEE using instruments such as special economic zones, industrial parks, and black industrialist interventions. Linked to the reimagined industrial strategy and the sector master plans, the following sectors have been prioritized. industrial sectors, automotive, clothing, textile, leather and footwear, gas, chemicals and plastics, renewables or green economy, steel and metal fabrication, agriculture and agro-processing, creative sector, and the oceans economy. The Competitiveness Improvement Services Program objectives are to develop the skills of SMMEs in order to establish, grow and sustain their businesses to have an impact in the local economy, to ultimately focus on improving productivity and competitiveness of these enterprises and make them sustainable, and to initiate a journey towards improved service delivery, profitability, and organizational competitiveness. CIS programs provide support for emerging and stable businesses. In the emerging sector, small and micro enterprises, we focus on training programs and solutions, including mentorship and coaching. Trainings range from productivity awareness, learning to measure and manage, business performance improvement workshops focus on improving profitability and employment creation through wastage elimination, increased sales, reduced operational costs through speed and quality improvement, maximized profits, and creating an early warning system to detect distress prior to its arrival. The outcome is to promote a productivity culture and mindset, as well as driving accountability for productivity performance at enterprise, sectoral, and national levels. We further aligned ourselves to the district development model, whereby we capacitate productivity champions, ensuring there is support through stakeholders and other key partners within all districts of South Africa. In the stable businesses, small, medium and large corporations or enterprises, the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition fund interventions which includes the Kaizen program and the Workplace Challenge program. The Kaizen program is a 4 to 6 months intervention and consists of the following implementation stages. Phase 1, baseline assessment and capacity building. Phase 2, process analysis and project identification. Phase 3, implementation. And Phase 4, performance monitoring or impact analysis. The Kaizen program's aim is to introduce the key concepts and tools of Kaizen, to identify Kaizen champions and capacitate the champions with tools, to create active participation, to facilitate problem-solving techniques aimed at improving key performance indicators such as cost, quality, speed, delivery, morale, and safety, and to define key activities to drive continuous improvement. The Workplace Challenge program is implemented over a 12-month period and is a Department of Trade, Industry and Competition supply-side program managed by Productivity SA. The Workplace Challenge program utilizes the following toolkit modules. Toolkit 1, Goal Alignment. Toolkit 2, Cleaning and Organizing. Toolkit 3, Teamwork. And Toolkit 4, Leadership. The program assists South African organizations to enhance productivity and competitiveness by improving workplace relations, by implementing world-class practices or best operating practices, and by sharing and disseminating experiences. The key strategies of best practice organizations are to implement leadership practices that promote teamwork, collective participation, continuous learning, and flexibility, to focus on simultaneous improvement of quality, speed or delivery, cost, and morale, to establish close links with customers and suppliers, to drive both linear and non-linear improvement initiatives, and to eliminate all forms of waste and making value flow. The Competitiveness Enhancement Program implements productivity and competitiveness enhancement initiatives with the focus on operational efficiency within exporting or potential export clients. The Emerging Exporters Program is a 6-month intervention, and the Large Exporters Program is 10 months. The focus is on productivity and innovation, value chain efficiency, as well as export market access through clustering of enterprises. The aim of the Competitiveness Enhancement Program is to increase the competitiveness of South African enterprises, to assist enterprises to overcome the challenge of entry in the global market, and to become more productive and competitive. Some of the outcomes of the programs are to improve productivity, to improve operational efficiency by improving resource utilization, reducing cost, eliminating waste, improve quality and profitability, as well as to sustain and create jobs. Productivity SA's enterprise development and support programs, with the focus on SMMEs, aid in improving the competitiveness and sustainability of these enterprises. This is in line with Productivity SA's mandate of promoting employment growth and productivity, thereby contributing to South Africa's socio-economic development and competitiveness.
For the opportunity. In terms of greetings, all protocol observed. Okay, so I'll just summarize what you have seen there. That is who we are in terms of Productivity SA. We've got 3 regions. I come from Region 1, which is covering Gauteng, Limpopo, and Mpumalanga. And then we've got the Region 2, which is covering, Cape Town and surrounding areas. We also have got Region 3, which is covering KZN. So in terms of our offering there, I'll just focus on what you have seen. We've got 2 programs that are working with stable companies. And in terms of our focus now, if I have to share with you, and I can see the room is almost full. I'm quite excited because assuming that there are so many businesses in here. Am I right? That fall in Gauteng. We want to establish clusters in Gauteng, especially for our last quarter, where we're looking at, getting at least 5 companies in different regions, whereby geographically they are closer to each other, and we can implement both Kaizen and workplace challenge programs, which are subsidized by the DTIC, our partner here. So in terms of the Kaizen, it's companies that are at least having 11 employees. Then for the workplace challenge program, which is a bigger program where you have seen we've got modules like your goal alignment, teamwork, leadership, cleaning and organizing. We're looking for companies that are at least having 20 plus employees. In terms of the smaller companies, just as you have seen, we've got things like your productivity awareness, we've got productivity champions training, where we focus more on capacity building. It's basic productivity tools that those companies can go and implement almost immediately. So in terms of my contact details, my name is Susan Mkabela. Like I have indicated, my number is 073 430 3926. Let's do it again, 073 430 3926. But I've also included the presentation, the PowerPoint one, which you can also share. There they will see a very comprehensive presentation where it also talks about the BTNR program, which serves companies that are in distress, which we did not present here today. Then in terms of my email address, it's Susan M. My Susan is SUZAN, M from Kabela, Susan M at productivitysa.co.za. Got it? We good? Okay, so I can be contacted, but you can also go on our website to see more of those things. What I also wanted to say before I forget, we've got this partnership with the JICA, the Japanese. Currently, we're running the Kaizen program, which we have seen here. We call it QPI. The focus is on improving quality and productivity issues that you might have. But I'm looking for a company in Gauteng. Currently, it can be 3 that are in automotive. It might be anything in automotive. Some people are doing leather seats, you know, for motors. Some people are doing, you know, small components for, as long as it's in automotive or in leather. But the leather part, Ntate Mabusela, I will just have to confirm. But I'm very sure about, you know, anything that has to do with automotive. I'm looking for a company that has at least 10 or more employees. If we know anyone, or if we have a company right here in automotive, please talk to me after the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that very detailed presentation. I had the honor of attending your, I think it was the Workplace Challenge, the awards ceremony, and I was really impressed when I heard the testimonies from the companies that have participated, that highlighted the benefits that they gained from participating in the program. But I think what stood out for me, I thought Arti was still here, was the profits, you know, that they managed to increase, as well as the wastage that was eliminated in the process. So thank you so much for that. We are going to call Lihlohonolo. On the email it said Lihlohonono, but you'll correct us if that is not correct. Pahlamu Shaka, who is one of our colleagues from Group Finance, to come and share about the debt relief program that I believe most of you will find very useful. Can we clap hands as he comes forward?
Greetings to everyone. Can I have this mic? Okay. I was a bit intimidated when I got here and I saw cameras. And I wasn't expecting that. But anyways, my name is Lehonono Pahlamohlaka. Most people mistaken it for Lehlohonolo. Yes. I'm here to represent the Revenue Department. If you can check on your program, it says Tandiwe Masego was supposed to be here to do the presentation about the debt relief program, but due to unforeseen circumstances, she could not make it. So I was asked to come and represent the Revenue Department and share, I guess it's wonderful news. Every time we hear there's a relief of debt somewhere, we tend to have smiles on our faces. My presentation is very brief. I'll just take you through it, and with just to save time, if there are any questions, please jot down the questions. And I'm here with my acting assistant director, Ms. Mpho Ramohale. She will be here to assist me in answering some of the questions. Okay, so without any waste of time, so can I stand here? Okay, so in terms of the introduction and the background, this is a program that is normally done, I think, I'm not sure if it's done every 2 years or something like that. But previously it used to be called the Debt Rehabilitation Program, but now it has changed to Debt Relief Program. So now this initiative actually aims to elevate the growing burden of municipal debt while actually rewarding customers who constantly honor their payment commitments to the city. There was a few engagements with our MOEs, which are our municipal-owned entities, City Power, Joburg Water, and so on, where they actually also agreed to come and assist when it comes to this debt relief program. So it forms part of the city's broader commitment to responsible revenue management, financial inclusion, and sustainable service delivery, which ensures that no customer is actually left behind when it comes to different services that are needed by the customers. So this is not just a relief initiative, but this aims to renew the contract that we have with our customers who reside in the city of Johannesburg, to promote fairness, accountability, and shared responsibility. So we can go to the next slide. So the purpose of this program, it's actually to provide a structured relief, such as a partial write-off of historical debts on municipal accounts that include rates, water, electricity, sewer, refuse, and other services. So it's also to strengthen the city's ability to recover outstanding debts and also improve long-term sustainability. So it also aims to align all relief with verified consumption data, which will try and ensure that we maintain accurate. Also to normalize the issue of, I think we all know it as izinyoka, where people tamper with meters, whether it's electricity or water. When customers actually come and apply for this program, we want to ensure that each and everyone who's going to apply for this program is actually compliant in terms of the devices that they have on their properties, being water and electricity. So this is also to reinforce a culture of consistent payment behaviors across all customer categories. We all know that most people, when they owe the municipality, they find it very hard to actually come and face us there by the revenue department, because once we know that you owe us, then there's always consequences to that. So this is to put people at ease so that they can be free and actually come and make all those payment arrangements and also apply debt relief for historical debts that are on their accounts. So this also aims to protect our vulnerable residents. We all know that people go through retrenchments. There's a lot of unforeseen circumstances that happen in different aspects of life. But also the offer is also targeted for our fellow pensioners who are on pensioners rebate and also on the extended social package. Those are also other benefits that are offered to the city, the city's residents and owners of properties within the city of Johannesburg. Yes, and also other indigent customers. So there's a qualifying criteria in each and everything that you do. There's obviously a qualifying criteria that you need to follow so that you fall within the criteria that is actually been developed and aligned. So in the first category, we have our pensioners, which we always try, or rather we aim to prioritize, and also the indigent beneficiaries who are on ESP. So as I've explained, that there's a program for pensioners and also for indigent customers, which is called the extended social package. That's something that maybe if you want an explanation of, I can explain it at the end of the presentation. So the relief type for pensioners and customers that are on ESP is up to 100% debt relief. So depending on, there's a SOP that has been developed, and there's also a criteria that they use. I just don't have the formulas with me, but where they actually check your payment history, they check the activity that's happening on the account, if you are compliant in making your payments and all those things, and then they will write off the percentage based on that criteria. So the repayment terms is up to 36 months. So the repayment term simply means after there's a write-off of debt on the account. Obviously, in some cases, they will not write off everything, but the remaining balance that is there, you can be able to pay it over 36 months together with your current charges. And then the customer category number 2, this is all residential customers of all income levels, regardless of, doesn't matter how much you make, how much you earn, how much you have in your bank account. But we are glad that we can be able to offer 50% debt write-off on your municipal account. And the remaining balance is payable over 12 to 24 months. So if you can check when it comes to our senior citizens that we prioritize, it's 36 months. And then to all the other residential customers, it's 50%. Payment term is up to 24 months. So the payment term is actually flexible. You can be able to choose that I want to pay it in over 12 months, 18 months, or 24 months. But 24 months is the limit that we can be able to give you the repayment conditions or repayment terms. Okay, and the next customer category is large businesses. Also, we also provide 50%. They are also lucky that they can also pay the remaining balance over 36 months. So if you have a large business that is owing us a lot of money, you are welcome to come and apply so that we can give you a relief, and yeah, you will have a good night's sleep. And also, we also have small businesses, faith-based organizations, NPO, old age homes, orphanages, and body corporates. They also eligible for 50% write-off over 36 months, and then the remaining 50%, meaning that the remaining balance on the account will have to be payable within 6-12 months. And I know this looks a bit confusing, where it says 50% write-off debts older than 36 months. So I need to clarify that. If your debt is over 36 months, you are eligible for 50%. But the remaining balance will be paid within 6 to 12 months. I hope that is clear, because I saw that there's a couple of people who have always confused the two. And then we also have interest and fee waivers. So there's always people who say, we've been owing the city for so long, but can you please give us grace? And this is where the grace and the mercy comes in. Because when you owe us, we charge interest. But if you offer to settle the account, we can be able to reverse the interest, and then we write off 100% of the interest that has been charged from the date where you were actually owing the city, and then we give you a settlement letter, and then you are welcome to go and face our speed points there by our cashiers. And then please go to the next. Okay, so I guess we all know that in each and everything that we do, there's terms and conditions. So terms and conditions apply. This is very, very important. So in terms of the conditions, the property value, or rather your market value of your property must not exceed 2.5 million for you to qualify. So if your property is over 2.5 million, unfortunately, you do not qualify. You'll have to pay us as per the normal SOP that is there. And then there's also exclusions. So as I've mentioned when I started, that this program was there before. 2 years ago, I think, stand to be corrected. And there was a lot of people who actually applied. But now, this benefit, unfortunately, only comes once. So if you've applied before, it means that you cannot be eligible to apply again, unless if you are our most important customer, which is the pensioners and also those that are on ESP. So if you are on ESP, or if you are on the pensioners rebate program and you've applied before, then you can be able to apply. But if you just applied just as a normal residential person, unfortunately this time around you do not qualify. Okay, also those that are not eligible, those who own vacant lands, unfortunately also you are excluded. We are always encouraging people that if you have a vacant land, please make sure that you develop it so that you can be able to pay rates and also provide development for our city, expand the city and make it beautiful. Okay, and okay, so in terms of ownership, we only provide this program to the registered property owner. So if you are, if your house is registered under a trust, unfortunately you also do not qualify. If your house is also registered under a CC, which is a closed corporation, which are actually phased out now, it means that you do not qualify. Okay, but a PTY LTD is still fine. You can still apply. Okay, organizations which are small businesses and NPOs, okay, must submit their 3 years audited financial statements, also 6 months bank statement, which do not exceed a turnover of 3 million. And account compliance, all meters that are there, all devices that are there, the property must be normalized and they must be in good working condition. Okay, repayment terms, 12 to 24 months to general customers, as I've mentioned before, 36 to 60 months for pensioners and ESP beneficiaries, 6 to 12 months for businesses, NPOs, old age homes, etc. Okay, so also a disclaimer that must be presented is that the city reserves the right to conduct a full financial assessment to all applicants. So the write-off might not be the same on different properties and different individuals. So that is done according to the conditions and the requirements that I've mentioned in my previous page. So in terms of those that do not qualify, or rather non-compliance means that if at a later stage we find that there was, if the relief is now granted and then there was they found that there was a tampering of meter or there's any other default in making the payment arrangements, then the city can be able to bring back that debt and you will be liable for the debt. I think I'm almost done. Yes, I think the next page is the requirements that we need. So I'll just quickly go through the requirements. So we need certified ID copies of the property owners, the proof of income of the account holder, both account holder, also the proof that shows that you are under the ESP program, certified bank statements for all accounts held by the account holder or spouse for a period of 3 months. And then for businesses, it will be 3 years of recently audited business financial statements, 6 months latest bank statements, CIPC documents, which are your CK documents, and all the certified ID copies of the owners. And then there's a form that you need to fill in, and you complete it in full, and also with the required documents. If you want to apply, you can be able to apply via the debt relief email, or you are more than welcome to come to our customer service, and then from there on you can be able to apply. You get a reference number. After getting a reference number, then feedback will be provided. I hope I did not chow a lot of time. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Lehonolo. Did I get it right? No? Oh, lehonolo. Okay, thank you so much for that very detailed presentation. First time that I encounter a finance person that talks too much. Usually they're short and sweet, straight to the point. But we really appreciate that, and apologies for putting you under pressure. If you remember, colleagues, we said we are here to listen, to learn, and to collaborate. We also want to give our businesses an opportunity to also talk to us. So I'm just going to ask all our next presenters to please let us be brief. 10 minutes is what I am giving all of you, so that we can allow enough time for engagements. I'm sure there's questions, there's issues that businesses want to bring to our attention. Without any waste of time, I will then call our chief economist, Mr. Papedi Pukubye. He is from our Department of Economic Development. He is representing our executive director, but I understand our executive director is now in the room. So he's going to give us a very quick presentation. It's an economic outlook on where we are planning to go as the city. So they're going to share that 10 minutes, ED. I'm putting you guys under pressure. I'm giving you 5 minutes so that you will then speak about our interventions from the Department of Economic Development. We can give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's too much pressure because my presentation is a bit, but I'll see what. Morning, everyone. Yes, my name is Papedi Pugupye from Department of Economic Development. So what I'm going to do is just to provide you, because my interest was more about giving you an information in terms of the economic strategy that we are busy with, and also send it through to you for comments, because it should be a bottom-up approach in terms of the recommendations that we have done. So you may open DED presentation. Nope. Yeah, it's not this one.
Meet the city. Okay. Wait, did you say? I think it's this one.
Yeah. Okay. These are my contact details. If ever you need economic data or any information in the economic space. So you may move to the next slide. They said we must move quickly. So as you would know, our role within the city, we are more about trying to create a good environment for business to operate generally. Hence we are here. So there is no municipality without business. There is no NPO without business. There are no communities without business. Basically, we are here to support business so that we improve growth, investment, and create jobs. So if you, please move. This is the mandate what I was trying to move. So these are our directorates within the department. How do we deliver economic development within different regions of the city of Johannesburg? So we've got an economic development facilitation department that, no, okay. Yeah, that talks to your resource mobilization and stakeholder engagement. We've got sustainable employment facilitation that talks to SMME support, APWP cooperatives, integrated regional economic development that talks to different regions in terms of identifying challenges and trying to address them in partnership with other entities. Economic development policy and planning information, point of convergence to help the city in terms of decision-making processes. Trade and investment, investment attraction, trade promotion, retention, and aftercare. Yeah. Move. Yeah, I think this is the most important slide. So this is basically the profile for Region A. And if you need more information in this regard, I'll be able to provide. So in terms of the population, Region E is said to have over 600,000 people, which is 1% of the national, because Region E is extremely important. You should compare it to national. We have comparison with regards to city of Johannesburg, but this is how important it is. If you look at annual percentage change in terms of population growth, 1.6 in 2024, look at the 10-year average growth is 1.9. Just keep this in mind. So here we're looking at the labor market. So we've got 453,000 people employed, which is 2.6% of the national employment. So there are different sectors from which we had bled job losses. It's primary, secondary, and tertiary. I always ask myself, have we exhausted? I know Region G is more tertiary, but have we exhausted the potential of primary and secondary sector? I don't think so. I think we've moved too quick from primary to tertiary sector, compromising an objective to the development of the secondary sector. So yes, as the economy grows, you will change in terms of structure. But I think these components have not been exploited. So unemployment rate 21.1 is a bit low in South Africa. So let's move to the economy. 207 billion in current prices, which is 2.8% of the national GDP. But look at the 2023-2024 growth, 1.2%. Look at the 10-year average, is 1%. What it means is we've got a lot of people coming into Region G, but the growth is lower. It talks to per capita income. It's lower, which means people are becoming poorer. So this is what I wanted to.
So can I slightly zoom in a bit because it's practically illegible from
Okay, I'll share the, yeah, I'll share. We can move to the next slide. This is just an indication of where region E is from the city of Johannesburg. This talks to, it does not talk to the size of the region, it talks to the speed at which the region grew. As you could see, that region E grew by 130%. The next one. This is just a distribution of your economic sectors. The biggest sector is finance, followed by community services, manufacturing, and I'm trying to catch up with time. The next one, yes, this is where I wanted us to dwell a bit on the draft economic growth strategy. So, as you would know, a strategy is only a strategy if it's current and applicable, and these are some of the challenges that we were drafting the strategy against. So I think it's important to also know that there is no way, I always say there is no way that the economy can grow if the gross fixed capital formation is lower, which is what is happening in South Africa, in Gauteng, in City of Joburg, wherever. So we can claim to grow the economy, but if the gross fixed capital formation is lower, because we've got it at 15% for South Africa, which indicates, I mean, the level of that percentage for provinces and for cities. So there is no way that will grow. For China, the investment is around 41%, for America is 21%, for South Africa is 15%. We need to grow. We had loans from the World Bank, but they wouldn't really move the needle, but they will assist. So we need now, there is a need now for PPPs to try and improve the economy and industrial development. And move up. These are the challenges, the SWOT analysis in terms of the strategy, strengths, weaknesses, and I think everyone is familiar with. These are the priority sectors that have been identified. So we requested the service provider to give us 3 because of constrained financial resources. They were too excited, they gave us 10. But it was good because it's comprehensive report in terms of the number of opportunities identified per sector and also potential interventions. So we'll share this. We also had your cross-cutting issues that we couldn't ignore when we developed the economic growth strategy. Your informal economy is SME development, revenue collection, inner city rejuvenation, smart city developments, and the green economy. We move. This is now the strategic framework as a result of all the research and consultation to congest it so that it gives direction in terms of where the city should be going from an intervention point of view. So we've got 5 pillars of the strategic framework. The enabling environment takes into consideration that everything that you do should be based on supporting an enabled environment, water, power, revenue collection, strategic partnerships, which includes also PPPs. Nodal development, not only are we looking at the city generically, but we are going to provide interventions that are custom-made to a particular region, because interventions in region E and region D should be different. Cluster development talks to identification of those sectors. As you would know, when you intervene, you must intervene in a cluster approach, because if you intervene per sector, there won't be any impact. Linkages links your people to opportunities through transportation and other means. Inclusive economy, it talks to your informal traders, SMMEs, and other activities in the lower segment of the market. So these are cross-cutting issues. For each and every component, there must be an SMME component that benefits from it. And we also need to understand that we need a strategy that is innovative without compromising an objective to sustainability. That's basically what it says. Next. So this is one of the most important slides, because it talks to the impact of the economic growth strategy. What are we looking for in the next 5 years? So we want to create more than 260,000 jobs by 2030 to 2031. And we want to grow the economy by 3% in the next 5 years. This was according to the mayor during soccer. Then we worked backwards in terms of calculation to achieve the 3%. And how we're going to do that, we'll promote industrial diversification in key growth sectors, value chain, local value chains and township economies, strengthen them, leverage digitalization, infrastructure renewal, and skills development. PPP is extremely important, and also elevate inner city revitalization. Yeah, another important slide. We consultation, including the BRICS Bank, what was common across the board was the fact that if the city can raise this amount of money, they can leverage on this to raise 60 billion. So we were surprised to say, but why are you saying that? Because it looks like in the next 5 years, it looks very easy. They said no. The biggest problem that we had was corporate finance, people who were packaging programs. So if you are to package a program, we've got a lot of corporate finance people who package programs. So most of them do not have experience in terms of PPPs. So they'll just keep on guessing. So we've got very few PPPs experts in South Africa. So if you want to raise or unlock the 60 billion, you must put this aside in the next 5 years for project packaging. So where we'll find this money, we'll talk to the group head in terms of reallocation of funds in the next financial year. Next. Yeah, this is just to indicate that the 1.6 billion will be required from the city of Johannesburg. This one will be alternative sources of finance. Yeah, this is just to indicate that if we shock all the programs that we have identified, although they are draft, that's why we are saying we're going to send them through to you. If we shock them, they'll be able to give us the 3%. If they are fully implemented, you know how you do your modeling. You have different scenarios to say if it is 100% implemented, you get 3%, half 1.5%. If the status remains the same, then you'll get the same results. So the next one, I think we're fine. I tried to move as fast as possible.
Thank you so much for that very detailed presentation, and well done. The reason I said I'm giving him 5 minutes is because I know he has a lot of airtime. So I was just trying to manage the time over there. I will now call our executive director, Mr. Matopa Namasha. He's the one that is leading our department. I can't give him a time limitation because it's career limiting. So over to you, sir.
Good morning. No, I'll be quick. No, I think it's fine. I don't want to kill you guys presentations. I think, good morning, and thank you for coming. Just a few things on my side. I think we, as the city, really would with our businesses in the city and be able to be more focused in terms of addressing some of their challenges. So that you can focus a lot on running the business than other issues, side issues. So we are happy that with the work that we're doing in terms of debt rehabilitation for our businesses, and we do believe that it's going to make impact in unlocking opportunities in the city, for the investment that we want to attract at the city. And I think we also, and all of them, there are different, our businesses partner with us, know where we are, and we're able to resolve. It's also equally important to retain the investment that we have. So it's one thing to attract, but another to retain, or at least make sure that we support businesses that are already in the city, that are working with the city, that are supporting the city, that are creating jobs in the city of Johannesburg. So just for a few things. One is obviously we want to promote the city as a preferred investment destination. That is quite important. Also make sure that we drive fast tracking, and I'll talk to it a bit later, in terms of requests that come through for support as well. We look at issues around aftercare, which is part of what we're doing here to make sure that we create platforms where we can pretty much know what are the issues and we resolve them. We develop and promote investment value proposition. I'm sure many of you would have heard the stories at Clover. Clover left some municipality because they were not saying they are not alive to the challenge. They were saying be responsive to the issues that we are raising so that we resolve them together. So that's what we want to do so that we are able to support. And of course, also leading in terms of economic insights, where we're able to provide support to our businesses to help them in terms of decision making where possible. So that's the offer that our chief economist has already provided. So if you need data around the economy, we can work and assist in terms of that data so that it helps you to inform your decisions. So some of the things that we're doing in terms of support, I think colleagues have spoken about the debt rehabilitation. There are also a lot of incentives that are there, depending obviously on the business that you are in. In property, most of you will know we've got other incentives offered by national, enabled by the city as well, that we are also assisting businesses access, whether it's your UDZ and all of that. We can obviously always provide more information around that so that our businesses are able to access those and they invest in the city. We've also realized that we have established what we call investment fast-tracking team, where basically what happens is that we've pulled in all the critical entities, Joburg Water, City Power, Development Planning, Transport, where when we get proposal or requests from investors, that requires multiple entity intervention. We're able to basically look at those as a team, and we try and fast track some of the issues that are affecting, for example, those businesses. So we are continuously getting requests from businesses, and we're looking at those issues in some instances where we reduce their timelines and run times, and there are also obviously some of the areas where we still need to follow some of the, but we do support our investors that come into the city. So I think where there are projects, expansion for businesses, and there are concerns around turnaround times in terms of the processes in the city, do bring those to this platform so that we can be able to intervene as well. And I think we also support investors. So sometimes we do go on missions working with other national government or the province, where we go on missions overseas. Sometimes our partners may specifically ask that bring businesses in this sector, and we are able to also engage with our partners as well in terms of that. So I didn't want to get into too much details. I'm sure, as you can see, I can talk the whole day around some of these issues. So in the interest of time, I think I'll pause there, just to say that I think we really want to communicate that we are open for business. Some of the issues that we deal with, we resolve quickly. Some are complex. We ask for patience, but we strive together to resolve these issues so that at the end of the day, this is our city that we must build. And as I conclude, I also do not want to limit my career. I also want to acknowledge the RD. Otherwise, I may also not be allowed to access the province of Limpopo at some stage. So RD, you are also acknowledged. Thank you for coming through. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, ED. You will all agree that at the heart of what we're trying to do is you as businesses, and that's why we decided to call you today. But there's another reason why we decided to call you in Region E, or there's another reason why we are having these sessions in the respective regions. As has already been mentioned, the landscape of every region is different. We understand that the challenges in Region E will not be the same as challenges in Region D. So that's why we want to have customized solutions that speaks to the challenges that you are encountering. We are now getting to the juicy part where we get to hear from yourselves as businesses. I am going to start with Mr. Leslie Mashiri. I did not confirm if he's here. He's a business development manager from Accelerate Services Precinct, and he's going to come and share some key highlights from the private sector. What we're trying to demonstrate is that through collaboration, like I said earlier on, we are here to learn, to listen, and to collaborate. Through that collaboration with businesses, we can actually achieve more. Can we give him a round of applause?
Afternoon, everyone. Maybe let me also, not career limit as everyone has mentioned. Thank you for having us to the RD. the executive director, and to the whole Region E leadership, colleagues, partners, and also the finance team. I also just want to make sure that we're safe. So I want to maybe start off by, I don't know if the presentation is available. It's a very short one. Let me see. Okay, it might not be available, but that's fine. That's why I have these. I think I sent it by email, but
It's fine, you can continue talking.
okay, all right. So, who we are as Accelerate Managed Services, we are a sub division of Accelerate Holdings, and we focus on public space upgrades. You know, bringing in investment into areas, cleaning up and bringing security into precincts. So our footprint in Region E covers precincts such as the Ilovo Boulevard Managed District. It also covers the Sloan Precinct Owners Association, and it also covers the Rivonia Improvement District. And what I can say is we've had great success working with the city. I'll be honest. I know you're looking for the villain in every story, but we have great success working with Region E CRUM in particular. They have helped us log a lot of calls, and some of the calls are, you know, electricity faults, leakages, trimming trees. So we've been able to engage with the city in that regard. But as much as we have successes, there are some challenges. And I think the challenges that we face as precinct managers, I'll wear my precinct manager hat for now. And the major challenges we face are, you know, interacting with some of the city entities. And in particular, I'll speak about bylaw enforcement. I think that's probably the biggest issue for us. So within our precincts, we do have issues of, you know, infringement on bylaws on public pavements. We do have issues of, you know, I try to use my words carefully as a town planner, you know, so forgive me in this regard if it sounds like I'm choosing the words carefully. But we do have, you know, street traders and kiosks in our precincts. And I think I was in a meeting 2 days ago where we did discuss that some people have licenses, which is good, but others might not have licenses, and some licenses are expired. So I do know that in Region F, they are doing some work, which is good. We hope that it does come to Region E as well, so that we can be able to audit the people within our precincts. Do they have licenses? Are they, you know, selling what they need to be selling in the area? And also, you know, are they not, you know, hindering the public space, for example? And then in terms of bylaw enforcement, I know I said I won't bring villains in, but I do hope that we can get better engagement with JMPD. I do understand they have constraints. We've had discussions around these issues with, I think, CRUM as well. But the biggest issue for us is when we do security stand downs or cleanup operations, we find that we don't have enough support, as security companies cannot, you know, by law, remove people who are not supposed to be in the public space. So that's where we sometimes get a bit of, you know, challenges to say, okay, we've reached City Power, we've reached Joburg Water successfully in terms of fixing some of our issues, but we do struggle to reach JMPD. And I think that's probably an ask from precinct managers abroad, or not abroad, but across board. If we can get access in terms of enforcing bylaws, we'll be able to, you know, improve our public spaces, clean up the areas, bring in businesses to invest. And I think the biggest issue now is to bring back corporates. I think that's maybe something that everyone wants in the city, and I've heard from the chief economist, it's good to have, you know, important people in the room. I'm really happy that I'm in this meeting. And bringing back corporates means, you know, cleaning up the public space, making it, you know, conducive for the employees. Also having engagement with, you know, other stakeholders such as the taxi industry. I was sitting with a very interesting gentleman yesterday, and he mentioned that in Springs, they don't pay or enforce forcefully. Apparently, the taxi industry has a collaboration with I think the city and the property owners. and that collaboration ensures that the area, there's no litter, it's clean, it's safe, there's no cell phone theft or any other crime. So I'm thinking maybe some of those partnerships of mutual interest could start to be developed also in Region E. But again, if someone has the number of JMPD, please give it to me. I promise I won't bother them, but it would be good to get those collaborations. And I really do thank you for inviting us to this event. We've had walkabouts with CRUM. I must say again, it was really good to engage with the leadership of CRUM. They are accessible to us. They are accessible to businesses as well. I can attest to that. We did have oh, here's the presentation. Okay. I was about to run out of airtime there, so but we can scroll across. I think I've mentioned who we are. That's fine. This is our structure in terms of Accelerate Holdings and Accelerate Managed Services. We do have Accelerate JHI that deals with investor services, CBRE Accelerate that does facilities management, and then CBRE Accelerate that does advisory transactions. We can go. In terms of our footprint in Region E, as I mentioned, we do manage 3 precincts, the Sloan Precinct Owners Association, as well as the Ilovo Boulevard Management District. I'll speak about these 2 for now because these are, for example, Ilovo is a high-density commercial corridor. Our focus here is improving safety, mobility, landscaping, as well as public realm management. In Sloan, what we do is we do understand that Sloan is a rapidly growing mixed office node. It's in Bryanston, and the priority issues here are verge maintenance, traffic flow, kiosks that are not registered or that are registered. We're still trying to find out. And then bylaw enforcement. That's our footprint in Region E. And then if we go to next, our partners, as I said, not to career limit, as you always have to shout out to your partners. So we do work quite well with the City of Johannesburg. We do work quite well with the Gauteng Growth and Development Agencies. So I raise my hand because it is true. We also do work well with the Gauteng Precinct Management Association, where we do discuss these issues that affect precincts and the businesses that we have within our precinct. So everyone in my precinct is my client, so I sort of have to speak about all their challenges in that regard. And then we also do work with security companies, as I mentioned, but their challenge is also that issue of collaboration with bylaw enforcement, JMPD as well. We can go to the next slide. And then this is the slide I wanted to maybe talk about a bit more. And the slide is mainly about the typical neighborhood cycle. So each neighborhood goes through transitions and cycles. First, you have the decline, and this is where confidence fails. So visible disorder, dumping, vandalism, service breakdowns, lighting, roads, stormwater, those type of issues signal confidence is failing and property owners or companies start to move out. Second would be stabilization, which is where we want to restore basic order. This is where we come in as precinct management companies. We do try to bring in daily cleaning, hotspot monitoring, improved safety and visibility, initial coordination with municipal departments, which is quite great, which is what we try to aim for. And then the third stage is improvement, where we start to strengthen the public realm, which includes tree trimming, verge upgrades, safer, cleaner pedestrian environments. I think we all know Sandton. It's a very nice place to be, and this is what they've done consistently across time. And then fourth stage is the regeneration and stage where reinvestment returns. So I think the reason I brought this up was we are talking about retention and bringing back investment. So I thought this is a very important concept, which is the neighborhood cycle. So at the regeneration stage, we want to bring precinct branding, activation, better mobility, renewed business confidence, and redevelopment. So this is where this starts to happen. And then the fifth one is just sustained value, investment retention, predictable operations, reliable public space management, higher levy compliance. I'll be honest, we do collect levies. I must be honest, we do collect levies to help us action some of the services that we provide. And lastly, stable population as new households or businesses move in, and sometimes older ones move out. But we need to make sure that we can be able to keep the value of these precincts intact. So, as I mentioned, I do have 3 areas that we try to make sure that we manage the neighborhood cycle Yes, thank you. And then, as I mentioned, successes. We are working quite well with the CRUM Region E team. We've had faster escalations, responses for cleaning, electrical. We've had notable environmental improvement in Ilovo and Sloan, but challenges, as I mentioned again, persistent gaps in illegal parking, hotspot behavior, vending, compliance. Also, precinct struggles to maintain order long term without consistent enforcement. So those are some of the challenges that we have. And then informal trading licensing gaps, also some of the issues. And then most of our issues are on the operational side. So red tape delays also. Most of my days spent between chasing and trying to speak to colleagues in terms of getting certain issues done, such as tree trimming, light repairs. Getting that red tape reduced can help us action our work much quicker and keep our clients happier, and also make the city look good, I must say. And then I think that we can go to the next page. So this is my last 2 slides, and the reason I put these was I did a site walk. I do that a lot, just to go around my precincts, talk to my clients, just to understand the issues and make sure that they're not just seeing an email and they see the face. So yesterday we did go through, and think we have issues such as tree trimming. Sometimes the team will come on site and they do the trimming, but up until a certain height they need to get permission. So maybe sometimes it could be an issue of maybe having a work plan, something of that sort, and then the work can be done well. And then another issue is, I think our colleague, I was going to try to pronounce the name, but I don't want him to come after me. But so I think you did mention abandoned properties, and that is a big concern. So we have one property here in Bryanston next to storage, and the trees are overlapping. Agents don't speak to us. We're also trying to find out how do we get those property owners to start taking care of their properties, because now it's actually impacting this property owner, and they had to redo their fence. So those are some of the challenges that we have. And then I think the last one would be, as I mentioned, bylaw enforcement. I do understand that he is trying to make a living, which is good, but I know there are ways that we can discuss and negotiate. Maybe sometimes we need to speak to groups that represent street traders, maybe, and then try work around placement. And then I do have one very interesting manhole open there, and I do apologize for the pictures. They are quite powerful, but this just highlights some of the issues that we do face as we manage precincts in our area. But as I said, every time we do log calls, we do get help with the city. So I must commend the city's efforts. Thank you. And my contact details, if anyone needs... I forgot one last thing. No, one last thing I forgot, sorry. So I brought two questions, but I'll probably just speak to one, just the previous slide. And the questions are, obviously, how can the city and private precinct managers or private development or businesses establish a joint, predictable operating rhythm to resolve by law enforcement infrastructure issues in high priority nodes? Then the second question, I know we're going to go into that session later, so that's probably the reason why I put these up here. What partnership mechanisms can be created to streamline service delivery, tree trimming, reinstatements, lighting repairs, so precincts and the city teams can achieve faster turnaround times? And I think now I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we give him another round of applause? I think he is setting the tone for our next session, which is an open discussion. We are going to open the floor for business, and that's the reason why we are here, so that we can explore partnerships between the city as well as private sector. In exploring these partnerships, we want you to be very honest. I appreciate your presentation. As much as you came to highlight the positives, obviously there are still challenges that we need to address. So in coming up or in trying to co-create these solutions, let us not shy away from highlighting those areas that are still a pain point for yourselves as businesses, so that you bring it to the attention of the city, so that we are able to direct it to the relevant people that can assist in terms of coming up with those solutions. As mentioned earlier on, as the Department of Economic Development, we facilitate economic growth. We are not necessarily the custodians of those service delivery that you mentioned earlier on, the street lights, the enforcement of bylaws and all of that. But our responsibility is to assist in creating that conducive environment for yourselves as business, so that you focus on the main reason why you exist, which is your businesses, and not necessarily chasing after officials that are not coming back to you. So we're hoping that in today's session, we will then try and address some of the issues. I love the questions that you are posing to all of us in the room, and I think it's also going to assist if there's other people that want to take a bite at some of the questions. I was thinking of the same thing as you were busy talking. In essence, what are those low-hanging fruits? What are those quick wins that we can get out of this session? So as you are going to be asking your questions, and as we are having this engagement, let us keep those questions at the back of our minds. Let us try and identify. I think for me, maybe if I can also chip in there, already the example that you gave with the taxi industry in Ekurhuleni, I think that's very powerful. Perhaps that's something that one can explore together with the business community, with the other stakeholders, to try and identify what are those quick wins that we can identify. The other point that I also wanted to raise, that will be my last point, we have the City of Joburg's Presidential Working Group. It comprises many stakeholders, private sector, as well as government, and the intention is the revitalization of the city of Johannesburg. At the heart of it is the inner city, but we are not limited to the inner city. We are also looking at other areas. We also want to bring back those investors. We are aware there was an exodus of businesses, but we are hoping through some of these engagements, we are going to restore that business confidence. We are not here to talk the whole day, but we also want to hear your views. There are roving mics, I understand. So you can, let's start with our first round of questions, comments. Maybe let's start with 3 hands, and then we'll allow the people to respond, and then we'll continue. Can I see who wants to take the first bite? There's a hand over there, number 1. There's a second hand over there, Ruggiero. Can I get a third hand? All right, not a problem. Let's, okay, and there's a third hand over there. Is this the only mic? No problem, I'll use that one
there. Thank you. Good morning or good afternoon. You know, I listened to all what the people have said. Maybe I always thank Mr. Makafela, because we come on, you know, every time we're asking this question. And maybe age is a wisdom, because all these things are just saying, you are saying those things, but it's just, with wisdom, it's just the synthesis of information that you bring them together. The biggest challenge we have here is the integration. Those things, everything that you are saying is saying same thing, but overlapping ideas. So I'll put Mr. Makafela on the spot. I know we hammer him every day to say, let's try to set up a business development unit within the city. Because whatever you are saying, it talks to the ground. You can do anything nationally, because you don't have, because you are our integrated government relation unit. It's not. So we are going to formulate that. That brings us to the integration of business so that we can talk to that. Reason being, we must be realistic, guys. The biggest problem that we have is human capital. You can say anything. You can write all the best document, but the elephant in the room is your human capital. And then experience is the best teacher. So, Mr. Makafela, if you can allow to do that setup, then we look for private sector partnership to try and raise funds, because government will always say they don't have funds. But they don't have funds anyway because they are bringing budget, which is a guideline. It's not funds. And then we then say, if we get private sector to come on board and we finance that, then we can get people that are going to serve on that, and then we're trying to get subject matter experts. You know, when you do consulting in these communities, even over, I've done it until Mpumalanga. The biggest problem we have with our transition, we don't have private sector, private sector expertise or subject matter expert because of the gap. Maybe it's because, sometimes I say maybe it's the age gap. Maybe, you know, Mr. Makafel, I don't know how old were you. I was still young. I actually put a paper in 1985, a paper that I presented. I'm even sorry because the then president, the deputy president, he was still young. And in that paper, 40 years back, I said, in our lifetime, for us to bring the townships into stable economy, we must create them into model countries and cities for them to be able to self-manage. And that is where the concept of local economic development is coming. You cannot do anything without research and development that guides you. So we are not guided by anything. We are talking over the people's mind. I'm coming from Alex. When they were talking about G20, and then they say we need G20, I said, first give me the GDP of Alex, even if it's expressed within the GDP of the city. If we sell Alex today, how much are we going to sell it? And based on what? And until we get into those things, so that our development, when we develop and we use what we call the foreign direct investment, we can go and look for money, and then we develop Alexander. We don't need government. Why do we go into the government? If you look at, and then I listened to the G20 when the representative of Germany was talking, and I laughed when he's talking about the depletion of your ODAs. I said, but this gentleman doesn't understand that during 1944, when they set up this crisis management system, Germany had nothing, but they had to use the ODA to bring Germany where it is now. But in South Africa, we have private sector where you have the CSI and everything. Where can we take those and then formulate a foreign funding and then go and tap into the townships? Because you wouldn't have budget. You wouldn't develop Alex. Never. Why? Because you are looking at the budget from the city. One, you have talked about the raising of 1.6 billion. 1.6 billion is nothing. Go to the private sector tomorrow, we've got the money. More than that. So that money is available. So those are the issues that I'm saying. If we then said that, it will then, the key to that, it will develop your private sector partnership and funding. Secondly, you will then, so that you can streamline your programs. Because most of the people are the SMMEs. I hear people as an enterprise development proponent of that. I have a challenge where sometimes we talk about SMMEs. SMMEs today are not SMMEs, are just an employment of a special type. Simple. Because they have nothing to do, and then you want to tell them to become SMMEs and entrepreneurs. Then they fail at the management of that SMMEs. If you get a good plumber, don't make that plumber a plumbing manager. He knows how to put pipes. But we are trying to create jobs on people with no idea to be able to run those businesses. So let's move away from that and then set up that. There was one project, I think it was Cosmo, they were building. I then said, you want the youth. And then I came with a model and said, this youth, let's develop them like when you go to private sector. You know, private sector, when you work, there is what you call cost to company. Cost to company is your value. If you've done, I said, let's use cost to company as the criteria of developing SMMEs. Because the SMMEs that we are creating today, if he's got a tender of 10 million, he pays himself 200,000, but he doesn't have metric. Why are you doing that? But if we take the cost to company model, you are able to value yourself within that company as a director. And one said, I'm running my company on my own. And then at the end of the year, I took myself to a meeting. And I said to myself, do I have the right skills to run this company? If not, can I not fire myself and look for somebody who can run my company better?
Sorry.
So those are the things. Thank you.
Just interject there. Apologies.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that when businesses speak, or anyone for that matter, please also introduce yourself. I did not get your name and the organization that you represented.
My name is Mayor, but not of the town. I will be one day. That's how I got my name, but I think my father expected I will be, but he's getting too old now. My surname is Setimo, Setimo. And then I'm running my own company as a business consultant, and I'm consulting a lot of structures, all these forums. I don't know which forums didn't I go through, including even in Mpumalanga and everything. We've got the same challenges that we need to develop. But Mr. Makafela, if we do that, we are prepared to assist. And we'll bring men and women who are development related and private sector. Private sector will come on board.
Thank you so much for, I think it's a question and comments also. We will go to Mr. Ruggiero.
Good day, everybody. My name is Ruggiero Brekombo. I'm from the Q Action Group. We run a city improvement initiative in the Q parts of Wynberg and Bramley View industrial areas. So I'm actually very disappointed that we have so few of the business people that we invited. And it just shows, the question was asked, what is the reason for this? Is it lack of interest, lack of, I don't know, expectation that they would achieve something, or from the city, or what it is, I really don't know. I'd just like to just bring up a few issues. So I've been in the manufacturing industry for the last 35 years, and subsequently I'm retired from the industry, and I feel that a lot of these initiatives that come for funding and so on through the various entities are very difficult to actually achieve because of the red tape that people have to go through. So we find that even there's a lady that actually, one of my tenants, she applied for funding through the IDC, and it took more than 3 years for her to achieve some sort of funding. And this is quite difficult, and there needs to be a system that people can apply for this funding to make it very easy and to go through without having to struggle through the processes, especially when they need to get all the information that is required and to meet the requirements to be approved for the funding. So I think that's one thing that is quite difficult. So we need to somehow fast track that. The other thing I'd like to just raise is that I know in Region E we've got the precinct development program that is taking place, and we need to have a better profile of the industries for this particular precinct plan to see exactly who's in the areas. So if we're looking predominantly at Q, Wynberg, Marlborough South, and which are, I would say that
the centers that require the most funding and upliftment. We need to have a proper profiling of the industries in the area. I also feel that we need to have more one-on-one engagement with the individual companies once that profiling has been done, because a lot of people are struggling to achieve what they are looking to achieve. And there's huge potential in these industrial areas, yet we're not realizing it. Obviously, it's been raised by Leslie from Accelerate in connection with law enforcement. You know, we tried the initiative to sponsor 2 JMPD vehicles for our area, but it failed dismally because the law enforcement wasn't prepared to operate on the memorandum of understanding the way it was set out. So we need to look at these PPP partnerships more in depth. So the other initiative that we have on the go is with the CPF of the region, where we're looking to integrate more with the municipal entities, and including, as it was raised by Leslie, the taxi associations, and working closely with them, also for them or the drivers also to report incidents of bylaw issues and criminal issues that they pick up during their operations daily. So I think that's very important. The other thing that we lack tremendously is the law enforcement of invaded properties. Nothing has been done to alleviate that, and it just creates more and more degradation because these places aren't shut down. Illegal mechanics and panel beaters operating in invaded properties and getting away with it. They basically chop shops, and it's destroying our industrial areas. And we need to somehow find a solution for that. Also the municipal properties, the private properties, we find it very difficult because we've interacted with group forensics investigation services to see how they can help us to remove illegal people from the properties, but there's no help there. And even group forensics, because of the fact that they are private properties, with the municipal properties, there shouldn't be any reason why group forensics shouldn't deal with these properties and eliminate the lawlessness that's taking place. Because with that lawlessness, it creates degradation of the streets and sidewalks, and because of grey water and so on. And then the municipal entities can't fix these degraded roads and sidewalks. So we need to find a solution for that. And it's not just the matter of housing, it's also the matter of the illegal activities that are taking place on these properties. It's just not stopped. So these are just some issues that I've just thought I'd raise. And the funding to be able to work on these things, we have an initiative at the moment to develop some properties in Q between Vincent Chabalala, 3rd Avenue, 11th Road and 4th Avenue. But the challenges of trying to get these properties under control is extremely difficult. As I mentioned, that we don't really get any help. So we can, and we do have solutions to relocate people and also create a lot of jobs for these people because of the project, which is in the region of 350 to 400 million. But it requires substantial funding for these for this initiative. And then we could slowly start creating a business park and expanding it out to the industrial areas. So yeah, the funding is extremely important, and again, it's PPPs that are so important in this initiative, and we desperately need help. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ujiro. The last hand.
Good day, colleagues. My name is Norman Tamirametsi from Marlborough. My company is Zenzeleni Cleaning and Transport Services. This is not a joke. I have not been to my office for the past 2 months. RD, because I can't take it. Driving over raw storage every day when I go to my office. I haven't been to my office for the past 2 months. I operate from home. If I have staff meeting or, in fact, I'm embarrassed even to invite people to my boardroom about the filth that is around Marlborough Industrial. The gentleman touched something very close to my heart here, that we don't need funding, we need assistance. Our fathers and grandfathers developed most of these townships without outside finance. Because when they built their properties in Alexander, the government of the day did not allow them to be financed by banks. And they managed to build those properties. I think we should go back to those concepts. Let me bring this to your attention. In Ekurhuleni, 80% of the waste removal companies or trucks are from Ekurhuleni. In Tshwane, 80% of waste removal trucks or companies are from Tshwane. Funny enough, in Johannesburg, 80% of waste removal companies are not from Johannesburg. They are not from Johannesburg. I can't remember how many people I've retrenched from Alexander. Another thing that is not being attended to, billing department is in tatters. Billing department is in a mess. I've even given up trying to complain or what. You know, every time you complain, they say, pay and complain later. In accounting, there is no thumb suck. You can't just bring a figure from nowhere. There must be a base. If you say, I'm at this point, you must show me how you arrived at that point. Billing cannot show us. I'm sitting with an account that in 1 month, it accumulated a bill of over 600,000. I asked them to show me how they arrived at that. Nobody can show me. Last year, there was something here where there was a big marquee where they said we should come with our grievances to have them resolved. I came here. They dispatched people to go and check on my meter. I'm still waiting for the response. Now, is it encouraging me to pay? Can someone come to our rescue, please? Law enforcement. Law enforcement has collapsed. You go to Marlborough, most of the hijacked buildings belong to the city. And the city is not doing anything. Even if you go to the CBD, most of the hijacked buildings belong to the city. That building where people got burned and so on, it's either it belongs to the city or the province. That means the custodians of the city are the main perpetrators of the filth in the city. So sometimes you get frustrated attending such meetings because it becomes just a talk show where you will be served muffins and so on. We really need action. We get frustrated. For a business to thrive, it needs a healthy environment. You can't run a business that is surrounded by raw storage. You can't. You have maybe your financiers, you have your bank manager. Like for example, bank managers now lately, they like visiting clients. How do I bring my bank manager to drive over storage? How do I do that? Please come to our rescue. I don't know, RD, when last were you in Marlborough? Marlborough is in a very bad condition. Marlborough is in a very bad condition. I don't think in the Johannesburg CBD there's an industrial area in the condition of Marlborough. And Marlborough has a potential of creating jobs, particularly the SMMEs. I mean, it's just you just cross a street to get to Marlborough. You don't even need a taxi to go and work in Marlborough. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very, very strong views that are coming from your side. But I think we also feel the frustration in the room. I'm going to allow RD to respond. And then I'll also give our executive director an opportunity to respond. Please make use of the microphones in front of you. Let's start with RD. And then if there's other colleagues that also want to weigh in, I know there was a billing response. If you also want to come in after RD and ED, you can also come in. I've noted there's a few hands that went up, and then we'll take the next round of questions. I'm told the microphone is for the live stream. So please use.
Thank you very much, Chair, and let's also appreciate the input from the business sector. I think in the first and foremost, the input that we were receiving, it fits back to the priorities that I did indicate that I have identified them for this particular region. And one of it that I mentioned was that we need to revitalize the industrial sites. And I also spoke to the issue of integrated service delivery that needs to be reinforced. Let me start with the issues that were raised. The issue of the sewer that has been running for 2 months. While you were asking me when last was I in Marlborough, I was actually testing the team to actually go and attend to it. So I'll definitely get your numbers and see to it that we attend to that by today. And I was in Marlborough even yesterday. I was at Q as well, driving around the area. I can tell you now that the stretch around even Loibotha, Balfour area, it's quite dirty. There's running water in that space that I picked up because I do my rounds just to check. But in the main, Chair, I think it should not be a session wherein we are more or less like defending. My approach to this kind of a session is always in such a manner that how do we then best collaborate, and how do we then best have a mechanism wherein we can have a platform wherein we hold each other accountable. And I get a sense that Mr. Rugero, the SITS forum that we have with yourselves, it really needs to actually expand in terms of the audience and the people that do attend, so that if there are other colleagues that are out there that are frustrated about their various business issues, we can actually see to it that they receive the necessary attention. I'll give an example. The issue of the 600,000 rand bill that is being raised. In the seats, when we are seated, we talk about how much are we able to recover from the businesses that are in our seats or identified as seats. And from our end, what is it that we have returned as service delivery to them? But we never have a situation wherein, Mr. Rugero, we're discussing individual business query accounts. And I think this is something that it's starting to show me that it was missing in the scheme of activities. We need to find a way that we bring it in so that where there are other queries of this particular nature, we see to it that we resolve them. So I do take that particular input, and I think it should be something that the team through Charity, we strongly look into it and see to it that for the next sitting, we address such. Chair and colleagues, I'm aware that some of the industrial sites have been turned into residential settlements. To be quite frank, I'm not in full support of that. Because those people that are there, they will still need an employment. So you can't kill one sector over another. And we understand the pressures of housing. What I am then trying to advocate for, and I think this is a discussion that ED, we should now then start amplifying it, is to see how do we turn those industrial sites to be multi-use. They're industrial sites, but at the very same time, they provide some form of an accommodation. And for those that have been to Chinatown, you may have seen that that kind of a model that the Chinese have applied there seems to be actually favoring them, because those people, they work during the day, and then in the evening, there's a bit of activity that is taking place. So it might be a model that may work, but it's something that needs to be looked into. But I'm not in full support of killing off the industrial sites over human settlement development. That one, I don't think I would give my full support to it. I think, Chair, the last point that I will then try and put forward is that let it be that this kind of a forum or a kind of an engagement, it's a once-off process. And I'm hoping that from this particular engagement, we will then have key activities or key matters that we have identified as action items that needs to be looked into. And as I give back the mic, I think the one aspect that I seem not to actually be hearing it coming out from the discussion, especially looking at the people of Alex, it's the issues around agro-processing. I understand my colleague presented to say they don't support primary agriculture. But if you take, for instance, Madala Hostel, there are a number of people there that are doing good farming. And they've been doing that for many generations. Some of it is passed from one child to the next, or grandfathers or great-grandfathers. But those people have not actually been capacitated in such a manner that they now then not just become primary farmers. They're involved in the farming of the goats. They produce milk, which is an alternative for those that are not tolerant to cow milk. They also produce meat. And they're also practicing in any other platforms that they may actually be involved in, from the issues of religious practices around rituals that have been done with goats. There are others that are also involved in medicinal, and I think this, I'm talking to the one that you said my age earlier on. If you have lived in a hostel, you will know in the hostel there's that man there that is a herbalist in the hostel. If you've been to a hostel, you will know that there's a man there. As and when the men have an issue, they go to him. In Mandala Hostel, I have not engaged with them, but I do believe that there is that one gentleman or two or whatever number that are also involved in there. But what we are not having in place is that they do harvest the medication somewhere else in other areas, but we are not creating medicinal parks wherein you would have a portion of the road or an open space that is prone to illegal dumping being turned into a medicinal park for people to come in and uproot a certain kind of an herb. Those are the things that I think it's something that, from the colleagues that are involved in business, excuse me, in business development, should try and actually emulate and fast track. Because our people have been practicing, but where they're getting some of these items, it's quite out of reach from where they are. On that note, Chair, I think let me appreciate the input from the stakeholders. and do indicate that from my end as the RD, I do apologize that you had to stay for 2 months with that particular sewer. But the team will definitely see to it that it's attended, and I will definitely see to it that from my side, I do provide you the necessary feedback by end of business today. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Just to acknowledge the comments also, and I think that's why we are creating such a platform. So just in terms of informal trading, because I think, as you would know, that for a long time, I think since 2013, the city had issues and court cases back and forth. I think that issue has been resolved. So as the city, we've started also issuing permits to informal traders to trade in areas that are designated. So what it then does in terms of bylaw enforcement and management, it actually helps because now our enforcers have the basis for being able to do that. So we know, I mean, though we started in Region F in terms of the inner city, also we know that in this region, we do have hotspots that we are targeting. Alex, outside the mall there, that we've started looking at with RD as well in resolving. We've got one here in Sandton, just behind the shopping center, in terms of guys that are selling food. On Rivonia Road as well, we do have one area that we've identified, and for ways and stuff. So we do know these areas, and I think part of the expansion in terms of bylaw enforcement will go into those areas. And we are also just secondly looking at exploring how do we really partner with the CIDs to assist directly. So I think part of what you were saying earlier, let's then see how we sort of expand that into a formal partnership so that we're able to intervene and assist, especially on things that you've raised there that should be resolved quickly as well. So I think I wanted to sort of just engage on those, on the informal. We are now aggressively enforcing that. But as you know that, yeah, we just need to require balance. A lot of the trading happens in areas that are not designated, and people at the same time want space for them to trade, given our economic conditions. So as much as we try to be accommodative, but also we need to make sure that our areas are clean and so those are the areas I think, yeah. So Rivonia will definitely be next in terms of, because those areas are becoming a bit of a nuisance in terms of people dumping, waste in our stormwater because they are not in areas that are designated. So we will accelerate some of those that now that we've got, in terms of the process of law, at least we are clear. Now we don't have any excuse around enforcement in those areas. Thank you.
So there's one hand here. Did you have a hand? So two. And there's one at
I think good afternoon to everybody. My name is David Matlo. I run a business out of Marlborough. And for my sins, I'm involved with Greater Alexander Marlborough Business Association. I'm not going to repeat what all the other speakers have said. It's true. And I think what's been positioned today is that strategically, what the city management wants, or executive has planned for, is really what we want as business people. There are no gaps there. And I think, just lastly, in terms of responding, the key word was collaboration. Is how do we do it? And I think that's where the gap is. And certainly for Marlborough, Marlborough can be the cleanest precinct in 6 months if we collaborate, because the trucks are running every day. There's not one day that the truck doesn't run. The people are there every morning, the ladies to clean up. But if we collaborate, if we set targets, and I think this is about getting things done. If we can't meet on a monthly basis, we will never get things done. And my plea is, as Gamba, is we just want to meet with the responsible people once a month so that we set targets for Marlborough and meet the next month and see if we've met those targets and they get done, so that when the strategic review is done, we can see that SMEs have come into the area because it's clean, because it's attractive, because basic things are being done like sewerage and whatever. They don't take months and months. And really it's about getting things done. And I'll use one example. There's a park up in Melrose, I think it's Ethel Gray Park. It's a PPP between the city and I don't know who. If you go there and you visit the park, it works. The city benefits, it still owns the property, it's clean, and the community is happy because they can go to a park that works. And yet, I'm amazed that a simple example where the city has done excellence like that can't be rolled out to Bess Valley Park, to any other park. And I think that speaks to the willingness of the executive to get things done. They know they can get things done because they've got an example where they've done it. But to roll it out and get it done properly, it just shows that there's no willingness, there's just no appetite to get things done. But from Marlborough, we've got the appetite as business operators and property owners to get things done. We just need to collaborate, hold hands with the city and get it done so that in 6 months, we can all stand up and look back and say what's next for the precinct in terms of economic development. And we don't have to rehash the strategy again about economic development and all those sort of things. We just need to get things done. Thank you. And maybe my appeal is just to be linked with a team that will visit Marlborough once a month or maybe once every 2 months and get things done. Thank you.
Dumelang, good day everyone. Fanuel Mutsepe, name, architect and urban designer by profession. I own a business in the CBD by way of 11-story building, office building. And I have a branch from a consultancy that operates also from Bramley, where I live. My home is in Bramley North. I'm from Makau, by the way, so I'm one of the many who are transient between my rural home and my urban home. What the input I would like to contribute is to RD, I think it is, the regional director. I appreciate the response that the regional director has very recently been in Marlborough. I strategically and intentionally chose to live in Bramley, not Bryanston or Fourways or any, because I wanted to live near a township. I wanted to live near access to highways that can get me to my home village, my farm, and the airport, and the CBD. Bramley was incidental, but thank God I discovered it, and I intend to stay there forever. But I'm very concerned about the collapse of Bramley. I've been a Bramley resident for the past 25 years. So I bought property there in 2000. And I have witnessed not only Bramley, I've witnessed Alexandra, Marlborough, Sandton. In fact, I've just witnessed, very depressingly, the decline that has been shared by yes, and David, whom, by the way, we've been at school and varsity together. As an urban designer, RD, we get insight into what is really at the core of debilitating Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa, from developing. If I go to, when I am in Egypt, Algeria, anywhere in the Mediterranean African countries, I am in an Arab country. The main shops sell Arabian produce. The cultural market, the cultural produce is Arabian produce. If I want Western food, Western clothing, there are malls, and I can go to those. But when I walk along the street, on my left, on my right, if they're not selling olives or lamps that are made in the Arab areas, or clothing or medicines or anything, cosmetics, it's all Arabian produce. You come into sub-Saharan Africa and you have the inverse. You find that you walk in Euro-America. Our towns, our cities are little Euro-American urban capitals or financial economies. The point I'm trying to make is that the sooner our cities and our urban environments are designed around the cultures of the people, around the cultural capital of the locals, the sooner we are going to address much of whether it's unemployment and basically the plights that we are faced with. When I go to Macau, my home village, those who know how to make local indigenous beer can't. The laws don't allow them. We can get into that. It's an apartheid law that we've adopted, and we still enforce it for whatever reasons. There are people who know how to make, there are cobblers, there are hairstylists, there are clothing makers, there are a wide range of diverse produce that the people of Macau can produce. But these talents and these skills lay latent or untapped into, because our cities and towns are not designed around those market economies. They're not designed around our indigenous market economies. I was very happy to hear RD say that, mention about the medicinal, which speaks to how indigenous medicines has found a way into actually now being formalized. We can't stop there. We have to look at those rural economies that find expression in our cities and our urban environments, but they struggle in our cities and our urban environments because those rural economies are the cities and towns are not designed for them. Unlike our European cities, when I'm in Egypt, Greece, when I go to the Greek villages, I can see how the market economy from the villages finds expression and exposure in the cities, in Athens. I can see how that market economy, that village economy in any village in Greece has found expression and exposure even in my own home country, South Africa. But with Africa, it's the other way around. You can't go to other countries around the world and find that our market economies have equal access and equal exposure internationally. Why? Because the blockage starts at home. At home, we have denied our urban economies expression and exposure in our urban environments, and as a result, they remain stuck and underdeveloped and unimproved in the rural areas. Instead, we promote market economies from Europe, from America, from India, now from China, but our own stays stagnant. We really need to have cities, city authorities that think within our cultural mindset so as to assist empowering the locals. I think the gist of this topic has been caught, but we really do need to stop applying apartheid spatial planning, colonial spatial planning, and Euro-American spatial planning. We need to apply Ubuntu Botu spatial planning that speaks to how people will find access to be able to empower themselves. That speaks to rethinking spatial planning. Town planning needs to be rethought. The likes of Frank Lloyd, I don't know if our town planner is aware of Frank Lloyd, the racist spatial planner who tried to turn South Africa into Orania. Those still apply. They still get taught. And therefore we need to get authorities that challenge the consultants that they consult or that they appoint. And they really need to be more careful about who they appoint. I'm not anti-employing. Thank you.
The point is noted. If you will allow me to stop you, please. As you heard from the other businesses as well as the RD to say this is just the introduction. So if you can please come to the next action-orientated session where you can then unpack the thoughts and the views that you are bringing to the table. I believe the RD has caught the gist of what you were trying to say. I think there was a last hand, am I right? At the back. It's just in the interest of time, colleagues, I'm not being mean. Let us also be cognizant when we ask questions. May I ask that we get straight to the point? We were supposed to have been done by 1 o'clock and we're already 30 minutes over our time. We want to respect our businesses that have taken the time out of their very busy schedules. So I request that understanding. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Program Director. I'll be very brief. I just want to maybe thank the RD for his response as well. It does give us a picture, and also the other speakers, Mr. Funwell, David, and Mr. Ruggiero. I think what I maybe want to ask is, in terms of CIDs, could we maybe ask for assistance in terms of proof of concept funds? I think funding for us, usually we operate on a levy collection model. So some we have to go on a voluntary basis. So we approach businesses and we ask them, do you want to volunteer? Do you want to improve your area? And sometimes businesses are struggling, as we've heard, and they might not want to contribute because it doesn't help them, or they don't perceive the benefit. So maybe if we could maybe, get some funding around proof of concept, so that can be cleaning. I'll give an example. Sometimes cleaning is between 40 to 60,000 rand to get a company to come in and hire people to come and do cleaning per month, week. So that could be a start, proof of concept, funding that could be, provided to CIDs. So maybe it could be 60,000. I don't know. It could be anything. But then it helps us to then approach businesses and say, look, something's happening. Do you want to continue this? Jump in, join in, and then let's see where we can go. But I think the funding part is where we get a bit of a challenge, because it's voluntary basis, and sometimes you have to. I sit in a lot of meetings with businesses, hence you see that I'm sort of comfortable now. But getting them to agree is where we're getting a challenge. So maybe if the city can support us in that regard. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. And I think the issue around the matter raised by Mr. Fanuel Motsepe on African products expressing themselves within our locality or the trading spaces that we are having in the city, perhaps ED will then help me with that. For Mr. David, the link for the team members, they will definitely meet with you beyond this particular meeting, and then we share the necessary contacts and see to it that you are linked up with the team members, and then from thereafter we can have an engagement. because we had already established a link with key contacts persons that are leading up the areas or the sits. The team, what we'll then do is we'll have a discussion with those particular individuals and see how we can then bring individual business owners into one online meeting wherein we can discuss the issues at a more global scale and also get to hear what their views are. Safe to say that for Marlborough, the team was still working on formalizing the sit. So for instance, for Santen, it's properly established. They do have programs that they are running, hence you see the area improving the way it's improving. For Sloan as well, they are well established, hence you see that they are also progressing. But we felt that Marlborough, because the priorities were saying revitalize, we felt that Marlborough must be brought in, and the team has been working on that. Wynberg is also one of the areas that they are working on. There is a concept document on special rated areas that the city has developed around how you go about qualifying. I think it's something that we should go back and look into it and see where it needs to be refined, if there are areas that needs to be refined. If it's then ready for the colleagues then to be shared with the business sectors, we then share it with themselves. What I tend to pick up, and I was saying to my colleague here in Tlaga, that you can't go into a business and yet you claim that you're a communist or you believe in socialism. When you go into business, you're a pure capitalist. You want your profit. That's the bottom line. And then the other social matters of you investing in communities follow. So what has shown or proven that it's working quite a lot, it's the partnership between government and the business sector or the investors in the locality that they are at. Because government does not have the full capacity to deploy everyone all over and have people policing the spaces all the time. So what it has proven is that when you have a partnership that serves each other's interest in the space that you are interested in, it tends to work. So I will then implore the colleagues for Marlborough, for Wynberg, to say that, can I ask that you have food for thought as to the areas of collaboration that we can work on and how we can have those particular areas being looked at in order for them to get to the status that you require. And colleagues, it's not going to be an overnight matter. That one I must emphasize. It's not going to be an overnight matter. Mr. Rugero knows very well, they have one project there at Q with JMPD that they were running. There will be teething issues that would emerge or challenges that would emerge. All that would require is then sober minds for us to see as to how do we creatively work around the solutions. But in the main, Chair and ED, is that from our end as the region, we are more than willing to collaborate. And there are instances wherein we work with DED colleagues to try and see if whether through the PEP project we can have cleaners deployed. Indeed, in some other instances, we'll say, no, we'll run this program from our end. From your side, as the region, try and focus in the river streams and other activities that will keep up other spaces clean. So we are committed, Chair, as a final remark. We are committed from our end as the region. We wish to actually have the industrial sites revitalized. We are more than willing to also negotiate openly about certain matters. And where we are not able to reach a compromise, we should not be holding each other hostage. What we should be doing is to see as to how we can progressively move the city of Johannesburg forward and keep its status of being a world African class city, please. Thank you. ED.
Well, thank you, Orti. Just to take along. So I think just on the issues around local products, just to indicate, I think if you go to our social media now, the City of Johannesburg, you'll see that we are profiling some of the local manufacturers that we've supported, and some we've put through our export promotion program. So we do have those programs that are running, and I think it's in our interest to make sure that we support the local products in our communities. Also, I think as part of our work around the smart city and digitizing some of our services, we will be obviously also announcing our what we call a reseller SMME platform, where we will be looking at a lot of the local products that have been certified, and we're able to really create additional market access opportunities for them as well. And we can obviously talk in detail around that also with the local communities, especially where we've got products that are produced locally, because it's definitely in our interest to make sure that we unlock especially market access for those guys. So we are also aware that the traditional shelf space as the only platform for market, it works, but not for everyone. So we are looking at digital enablement for some of the local products, so that we can be able to help them scale fast, create jobs as they develop solutions in our communities. But I think we are looking at partners. I think earlier I mentioned that we're looking at partnering with some of our CIDs to support them, and I think as RD has confirmed that there are areas where there could be exemptions and special rates apply, but in general we are really looking at working with them at that level where we are able to collectively resolve but create opportunities that enable development in those areas. So we are committed, and yeah, we are exploring, I think, in some of the areas partnerships with some of the CIDs. We can sort of explore that as well, and also look at some of the support that you require in some of these areas. But otherwise, I think that's why we have created this platform, so that businesses can obviously have a special platform as well in the city of Johannesburg, where we can be able to engage on these issues, resolve them, and develop our communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just want to check, are we all covered? I'm not closing anyone out. I'm assuming the issues are the same. We've sort of exhausted the issues. Maybe just to come in with an announcement to support what ED is saying about giving our SMMEs access. We are running a market day tomorrow in Maboneng. It's called Maboneng Market Access Day, where we are giving our SMMEs a platform to showcase their products and services. It is happening in the Maboneng precinct. It's free for the public. If you are around that side, or if you want to support our SMMEs, you are more than welcome. We'll be showcasing products and services from 50 of our city-owned SMMEs. These are local, homegrown products. So I hope it answers your question. With that said, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our session for today. I just want to appreciate all of you for taking the time to come and have this conversation with all of us. I just want to summarize quickly some of the takeaways from this session. I think we can all agree that we share a commitment to economic growth and development, and that's the reason why we are here. If you were not passionate about driving the economy of our country, you would not even be here. So we appreciate that. And the second point is alignment with global as well as local priorities. The RD also mentioned some of the local priorities that speaks to this region. So we'll make sure when we convene internally as colleagues, we align to what the city is also seeking to achieve. And then there's an agreement that Region E is a strategic economic engine for the city. More reason for us to make sure that we are intentional about our efforts and solutions. There was mention of Sandton, Alex, Marlborough, Q. Those are some of the areas that are represented in the room today. So it's all our responsibility to make sure that this engine keeps on moving so that we can experience the spillover effects to the rest of the city. Key barriers were highlighted. I'm not going to go through them again. We have taken note of it. As the RD mentioned, we'll make sure that the COJ team is on the ground to respond to those issues. And then lastly, a very strong message about collaboration, which is what we had at the back of our minds when we're planning this session. As I mentioned, listen, learn, and collaborate. And I'm glad that we have identified a few of those areas, as much as we don't necessarily have the full details of what that collaboration looks like, but there is a general agreement in the room, both from government as well as private sector, to say that let us collaborate to revitalize our economy in the region. As a way forward, I just want to mention a few points just to give guidance in terms of how we're going to move. We are going to establish an action-orientated investor retention team, and I think it speaks to the comment that was raised by the team from Marlborough. This is a consistent theme that we have noticed. We've had this session in Region C, we've had this in Region D, and there's a hunger from the business to have a dedicated team that is looking at addressing some of these issues, more so because of the frustrations that businesses encounter being sent from pillar to post in trying to resolve this issue. So what we are going to do on our end, RD, we are going to convene internally with all the regions to try and understand what does this mechanism look like, so that when we set up these task teams, we'll make sure there's a full representation from all the departments and entities, and then we'll agree whether we're meeting on a monthly basis, by whatever. We can then discuss that level of detail. But I think what we are taking away from these sessions is that there is a need for a dedicated team that will then respond to these issues. When we conceptualize it, we can say it's something similar to an investment fast-tracking committee, except it is meant to address or to cater for businesses that have already invested in the city. And then the second point, prioritize critical service delivery improvements. I think this will be an output from those engagements. We will then identify the projects, low-hanging fruits that we can easily implement, and then accelerate the implementation of those projects. And then the next point is reinforcing communication and engagement platforms. What we also realized with other engagements, businesses are saying, we want to have more of these engagements with the city so that we know what is happening and how best you can support. So this is the first of many engagements. The form might not necessarily take this shape, but we are basically saying that we want to engage with yourselves to help make life easy for you as a business. And I think as part of that communication reinforcement, it would include things like site visits. There was a point that RD made to say, with the engagements through the SIDS, it might not necessarily go to the specific businesses. And as such, they might miss some of the frustrations that individual businesses are encountering, like the 600,000 bill. So with the site visits, we are more intimate in trying to understand what are those issues that businesses are experiencing. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are open for business, as the ED has mentioned. We are going to be sharing all the presentations that were done today. We're going to communicate the way forward with yourselves so that you know what is the expected outcome, as well as to assist you in terms of managing expectations from a communications point of view. With that said, our meeting is adjourned. I know we went a bit over our allocated time, but I just want to thank all of you for your patience, for staying right up until the end. There is some refreshments that will be served. Let us also network, let us also engage further. If there's more questions or frustrations that you couldn't raise in this platform, the colleagues are still here. We can have the discussions on the other side. Thank you so much. The meeting is adjourned.